This is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me in this webcast that we do every single day to help you as a sales manager or you as a salesperson be more effective, make more money, do what you want to do. That's the question. What is it that you want to do? Look, you finished your taxes, or you're right now in the middle of tax season, and you're looking at your numbers, and you're sitting there perhaps for the first time in a while, you've actually seen how much money you've made. And maybe it isn't what you thought it was going to be. Maybe it's a little bit less. And I've talked to you about that before. I've talked about the gap. That is, what you expected to make versus what you really did make. Oh, you wanted this, but you got this. Now, that's an important thing because I want you to consider how you're going to fill that gap up this year, not last year. It's over. There's nothing we're going to do that's going to save last year. Nothing. This is a year that we're going to succeed. But we've got to think through what it is that we need to do in order to reduce this gap so that you make what you want to make. I want you to be successful, but success is defined by you. I have somebody that I know well who said to me the other day, I don't want to make more money. And I said, really? Why not? And I haven't heard that in a while. He said, well, he says, I play golf 4 days a week. And he really does. And he doesn't want to be interrupted by that. So he's happy doing what he's doing. He makes okay, he does okay in sales, but he doesn't really want to stretch it and do more. Well, that's fine if that's you. But if it's not you, if you want to say to yourself, I want to reduce this gap, I want to make that much money, then how are you going to do it? There are only a couple of things you can really do to improve your sales. One of which is obvious. You can prospect more. That is, bring in more business. So if you prospect more, in theory, you'll bring in more business. But I've got to tell you, that doesn't always work because you can only prospect so many hours a day, so many days a week, and that's about it. So you're never going to hit that number. That's the mistake about sales. Salespeople think, well, I can make $1 million this year. You really can't because time is limited. Time really stops you. So that doesn't always work. Well, what you could do is just make more sales, right? Not prospect, but make more sales from the existing base. Well, you could do that, except you can't force somebody to buy more. For example, if you sell paper, you can't get somebody to buy more paper because you want them to. They don't need it. They'll just use what they've always used, maybe a little more or less, but that's not going to change. So what is it that you can do? The answer to the whole thing is you can upsell, cross-sell, add products to what you're doing. In other words, let's take the paper guy, okay? You sell paper, paper man, paper woman, you sell paper. Well, is there colored paper? Is there other different types of paper? Is there better letterhead that you can supply? Can you pre-print? See, that's really the key. How ingenious are you or innovative in making something work for the person that they haven't thought about? You know that my philosophy about selling is asking people what they do, how they do it, when they do it, where they do it, who they do it with, why they do it that way. And your job is to help them do it better. Well, helping somebody do what they do better is innovative. See, if you can be innovative in what you're doing, if you can help them do what they do better by being innovative, you succeed. That's really the key. The key is being innovative. It's being helpful that they haven't even thought about. But that means you have to think about it. You have to brainstorm and say, okay, what can I do with this particular person, this particular company that I'm selling to, that they haven't thought about? Now, that's the problem. Remember, they're in that business. They've thought about it. They've thought about everything. That's what they do all day. You know, their purchasing agent has thought about, can we do it this way or that way? So you want to say to yourself, how am I going to get around that? My suggestion, and this is important, is that you meet 12 people, potential buyers within a company. It's called the power of 12. I've written about this. The power of 12, meet 12 people. When you meet 12 people, just because that's a number, and it's an important number, you will get to know what the company really does and the issues that the company is facing or some of the ideas that the company, people within the company have. The 12 people all have different ideas, but you don't usually meet them. You usually meet one. You meet the buyer. You need to meet the other people who surround the buyer. Do you know that typically nobody, CEO, CFO, CIO, makes a decision by themselves? You don't. When you bought your house or bought your car, you brought somebody with you. You said, take a look at this car. What do you think? You asked them. Yes, 12 people. You could have asked mom and dad, or you were mom and dad and they asked you. It didn't matter. But somebody else asked you, and so 12 of you kind of made a decision. You even asked the guy who's selling to you, or the person who's selling with the person who's selling to you. So what I want you to do is think about, do you really know 12 people in that company, in that circle? Because if you don't know 12 people, you're really cutting yourself off, because only that one person can make a recommendation. And that's not what you want. Now, that may mean that you have to travel or video conference to other locations. Are you selling in one place? Are you selling just in Philadelphia? Are you selling in Kansas? Are you selling in Texas? You're selling in California? You're selling in Canada? Where are you selling? Do you know where they are and what they do in all those different locations, especially with a large company? Or are they just one company with 3 people and don't have the capacity? It's important. Don't have the capacity to grow. You're spending all that time trying to get 3 people to buy more, but they don't have the capacity to grow. So you have to look at that and say to yourself, you know, maybe this isn't the right company right now. Not that you're going to drop it. I will never drop that. But I may say to myself, maybe I have to rethink who I'm dealing with. When was the last time you ranked your companies A, B, C, and C being the least likely, but B being the most likely to move up to A? Because you and I both know that happens. So I want you to give some thought today to the different companies that you're dealing with, why you're dealing with them, what the potential is, and how much you can take from their coffers into what you're making. See, I want you to make as much as you can. You know that. The only thing I want you to do is be successful in sales. Nothing else interests me if you're not successful in sales. Now, we offer you this opportunity. If you will write to me, this is different than what we've done before. If you will write to me on email or call me, doesn't make any difference, and say, hey, listen, I'd like to have a free session. I will give you a free session, 20-minute session on video about sales. I'll give you some ideas. I'll give you some thoughts. I'll give you a book. I'll tell you something about it. Remember, I've written 70 books, a lot of stuff there, a lot of different topics, and I'll be glad to help you. Okay, so this is Steve Schiffman, and I want to thank you very much for joining me today. And as always, you humble me by your presence.